What's going on, guys? Yesterday, Carolina and Minnesota got an early start to the trade deadline. Carolina traded Victor Rask for Nino Niederreiter. Trade was 1-for-1. So, initial reaction, I feel like Carolina probably won this trade. Even though Rask is a center, they have a similar age and salary, and Niederreiter simply produces more. But I'll see what happens if we actually made that trade in NHL 19. And as you can see here, Rask is actually a player Minnesota wants. Trade value there in between Teravainen and Julien Gauthier. 25-year-old, 82 overall center. High top 6 forward potential. Role there is second line forward, and I think he's making $4 million for the next 4 years, which is probably a bit pricey considering his production. Right there you guys can see his full career stats. His best season was 15-16 where he put up 48 points in 80 games, so has actually yet to put up a 50-point season, and he averages 0.48 points per game over his career, so not too bad, and actually pretty surprisingly, it's more than Niederreiter averages per game in his career. But I still feel like Carolina probably wins this trade. Niederreiter's value is between Coyle and Eriksson Ek. 26-year-old, 84 overall right winger, medium top 6 potential, so he's a year older than Rask, but he's also 2 overall higher, and his potential for some reason is actually slightly lower. Rask has the high top 6, Niederreiter there, medium top 6, and as you can see here, he's making 5.25 for the next 4 years, so same contract duration, but Niederreiter there is making an extra $1.25 million. And look at his full career stats here. You can see he actually put up 50 points a couple years ago. 16-17, he had 57 points, 82 games. I believe that's the year he got his big contract, as he looked very good that year. Since then, he's been good, but not as good. And before that, he was also pretty solid. And I was wondering, too, like, how does Rask have a higher points per game than Niederreiter? Niederreiter is actually 0.46, so Rask is 0.2 higher. And it's because of 2011-2012. I honestly had no idea he was even in the NHL that year, and no wonder why. 55 games played, had 1 single point. It was actually a goal, minus 29 as well. It's not too good. 1.4 shooting percentage there, and he was actually back on the Islanders that year, and that was actually the last season he played in the NHL for the Islanders. Next year he played in the AHL, did pretty well though, 50 points, 74 games, and then of course was traded to the Wild, where he definitely found more success. Kind of crazy too, like Niederreiter got traded for Cal Clutterbuck. I still don't get that trade for the Islanders. Like, even if you want to get rid of him, I feel like a second or third round pick would have been a much better return. As Clutterbuck's on a pretty bad contract right now, like they'd probably have to pay a team to take on his contract, so a really bad trade there for the Islanders. I feel like Minnesota wins this one, so again, Niederreiter is the better player in the trade, but it's definitely closer. So, as you can see there, the value is pretty equal. Minnesota wants Rask. Obviously, he's got the higher potential, better contract, but Niederreiter is higher rated. So, see if this goes through. It's on high trade difficulty. Here we go. Trade rejected. So, we're going to try this as well on medium and easy, just to see if that changes it at all, as it's very, very close. Alright guys, we're now trying this trade on medium difficulty. Like I said, it's so close. If this doesn't go through, I think easy, honestly, it might. And, okay, no, on medium it does go through, so that's how close it was. Hard, it was probably, like, just shy. Medium, though, it's a fair 1-for-1. At least Minnesota feels like it's a fair trade, which is pretty surprising, as like I said, in my opinion as well, seemed to be the popular opinion online. Most people think Carolina definitely won this trade, so there we go. On medium, it goes through. Now, after the trade, guys, here's what the Hurricanes forward group might look like when they're healthy. So Ferland, Aho, Teravainen still in the first line. Then they have Niederreiter playing with Stahl and Svechnikov. I feel like, honestly, Svechnikov and Niederreiter should be able to help each other out, just produce even more. Obviously, bomb six there's not going to change. Another thing, too, Carolina apparently is trying to shop one of their defensemen. Right now, they just have too many. Like, they have a solid top 6 there as well. They have Hayden Fleury, who I think is good enough to be in that top 6. So I'm hearing both Pesce and Slavin might be getting traded. And I feel like if they can get Niederreiter back for Rask, they can probably get a pretty good return for one of those two defensemen who are still young and solid. So being very interesting to see kind of what happens here. Obviously, we still got like a little over a month before the trade deadline, but I'm excited to see all the action that's going to happen. Apparently, Chiarelli wants to make a trade. You never know kind of what he's going to do. Also want to show you guys how Niederreiter looks in the Hurricanes jersey. So right there, you can get your first look, assuming he keeps 22. Not too bad. So we're now going to try to trade from Minnesota's perspective. Also, guys, a couple things I forgot to mention. Niederreiter, you might forget, was actually a top 5 pick back in the 2010 draft. He was picked 5th overall by the Islanders, and then Rask here was drafted the next year, 2011, was actually a second-round pick. So for a second-round pick, I feel like Rask isn't too bad. Niederreiter for 5th overall probably should have been better, aside from that 1 year where he played really well. Also, as you can see here, Minnesota is considered a contender. Carolina is considered a rebuilder, which I find kind of funny, as I feel like Minnesota should be down 1, Carolina should be up 1. I think, honestly, in real life, they're probably both hopeful. Minnesota is just clinging on to a playoff spot. I'm not sure they're going to get in or not. And Carolina looked pretty good to start the year, but now they're kind of on the outside looking in. It's probably just too big of a gap for them to catch Pittsburgh and the Islanders for that last playoff spot in the East. So let's see here what happens. Pretty even trade value there. and it gets rejected. So we're going to try it again on medium and see if maybe it goes through again. So trying to trade on medium now, guys. We'll see if it goes through. And trade is still rejected on medium, so we'll see if maybe easy gets it done. Alright guys, so finally here, trying to trade on easy. They want Niederreiter, so even if Rask has like slightly more value because of the high top 6 opposed to medium, I think maybe this goes through. And trade is still rejected. Okay, so this is like a rare time where I guess we would disagree with EA. They feel like Rask has more value in a 1-for-1 trade, whereas I think it's probably slightly more on Niederreiter. Even though Rask is younger, with the cheaper contract, and in-game he has more potential, I feel like in real life, probably the potential is even, and Niederreiter has produced a lot more recently, even though Rask does have a higher point per game overall. Obviously, that one season really hurts Niederreiter's. And after the trade, guys, here's what Minnesota's first line might look like when they're healthy. So Zucker, Koivu, Granlund is the actual first line in real life. Coyle, Stahl, Parise is kind of like a mixture of what they have right now. Greenway, Rask, and Kunin, and then Brown, Eriksson, Foligno. Personally, I see Rask as like a middle 6 player, so he could play third or second line for them. Also show you guys what Rask looks like wearing that Minnesota green. So right here you guys have your first look at Victor Rask in the Minnesota Wild jersey. Doesn't look too bad, I don't think. And that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section which team you think won the trade, Minnesota or Carolina. And like I mentioned before, still about a month before the trade deadline, so hopefully there's a ton more trades happening in the NHL. It just makes it that much more fun. But as always, guys, thank you for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs up. Have a nice day, guys. Goodbye.